What is up, my people? Welcome to another one. Um, as you can see here, one of the people that watches my videos was upset that I said stuff about a black man. And it's okay that I talk about white people. It's okay that I talk about Latinos. Um, but it's not okay that I talk about black people. Black people are untouchable, and I can't say shit about them. And notice how in that video, if you go back and look at that video, I'll try to link it in the description, but if you go back and look at that video, it did start off with Floyd Mayweather. And I will admit that I may have gone a little bit too hard on Floyd Mayweather. But he was only the example. What I was really trying to talk about is humanity as a whole. Okay, now he just happened to be a black man. I never even mentioned that until I talked about the racism of white people towards black people and how that's holding humanity back as a whole, in particular here in the United States. This is why it was important for me to mention black people. It was because the reason, one of the main reasons that I want to talk about, that I talked about this, and I didn't mention it in that video, is that we could all have healthcare. We could all have free healthcare for all and benefits and all these kind of things. But the reason we don't is because certain white people from back in the day decided that they didn't want black people to get it too. So basically, they just shot themselves in the face to be a higher status than black people. That's what I am talking about. This obsession with status that humans have, that is killing all of us. And the reason I mention that is because it's very important to what we're going through right now. It is a sickness that we have. Now, but this guy, he's too sensitive. He's not able to see what I'm really talking about. He's stuck in another thing that I also talked about in that video, which is religion. This man's religion is the color of his skin and the idol worshiping of these celebrities that look like him. This is a very human condition. This is not just black people. It's more relevant in black people because black people are the ones that attack me the most when I say something about a black person, a black celebrity, or whatever. Which I attack everybody who I feel needs to be attacked. And by the way, I'm trying not to use that word, and I'm trying not to be so aggressive, because I do agree that in the last video I went a little bit too hard on Floyd Mayweather. But the reason I did that is because I'm tired of my people falling for these same traps that Floyd Mayweather has fallen for. And if you're from the hood, or if you grew up around people from the hood, right, and Mexicans and black people and minorities in general, you'll understand that this obsession with status is rampant in our communities. It's not just a black thing. In fact, to just blame black people for the culture, because a lot of people say that hip-hop culture is trash and that it's bad or whatever. I don't believe that. I truly don't believe that. I think that it's a representation of a lot of minorities. And to give credit only to black people is also blaming only black people for all of the bad things that come from that culture. And I think that's unfair in various different ways, both in the negative and in the positive. The truth is, in my personal opinion, and you could go back and look at it if you want to, Latinos were there all the way through, making culture, right? The hip hop, all of it, they were there. All right, they weren't as acknowledged as black people because black people were the main ones in the forefront, but they were there too. Okay, and it affects those same communities. Now, again, I believe in dualism, right? And I believe that things come in both good and bad. There's good things about the culture and there's bad things about the culture. I don't think that you should discard everything about it. And even when it comes to the pursuit of status, that's not so bad either. I'm not saying don't pursue status. I'm not saying don't wear jewelry. I'm not saying don't wear the stuff that you want to wear, the colors that you want to wear, or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you let that take over, and you let that take over your life, and you become a walking billboard for these things, you're no longer a human. You're just a billboard. You're not yourself anymore, is what I'm trying to say. And you could see when something goes too far. You could just see it. It's like, um, you're obsessed with this status to the point to where you're putting yourself in danger, you're putting your family in danger, you're putting, and that's when it goes too far, in my personal opinion. But so the reason I'm using Tekashi 6ix9ine here is because maybe this will make those people feel good about themselves if I talk about a Mexican. Right? If I talk about a Mexican, that's not so bad, right? All right? Tekashi 6ix9ine is a piece of shit. There. You happy? Good. But for those of you who understand the message, and for those of you who are not obsessed with the image of a man, and for those of you who know what I was trying to say, congratulations. But so let's proceed here. Now the other thing that I mentioned in that video was the three main things that humans want, and one of them was status, right? And I was researching a lot about status and a lot of the stuff in the culture, what it means, and why people do it, right? Why people pretty much sacrifice their bodies to pursue status, right? And like I said, status in itself is not, or the pursuit of status in itself is not, it's not evil. It's not bad because, but like I said, if it goes too far, it is. And what I'm really trying to do with this video and the last one is trying to make you aware of this, so that when people use it to try and manipulate you, that you're able to recognize it for what it is. So these are some good things about status, or the people using our pursuit of status to make us do things. So like trophies, right? Trophies, boxing belts. You got the WBA, WBC, whatever belt you wanna chase. This is really the pursuit of status, right? People even pay a certain fee to be perceived as the champion of this, the champion of that. Why? Because it's very important for them to be perceived as that. Of course, they did the work and they fought or whatever, but they're still, I guess a lot of times there's a fee to pay. So that's what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying that yes, it is necessary for this human condition to be used for us to motivate each other to continue to strive and do things. So I'm not saying don't pursue these things. I'm saying know what it is and know why you want it. That way, when something goes too far, you could maybe snap yourself out of it and be like, hey, I'm all about being the champion of the world, but how much am I getting paid for this? I gotta worry about my kids. So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying don't end up like Colonel Lockjaw, to where he shot himself in the. He didn't shoot himself in the. But kind of he did, and he still went back and looked for that approval from these people so that they could put him in a higher status. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and it happens all the time. People use these techniques on humans all the time because they understand the human condition for a propensity for trying to be of a higher status, right? Because that's just how we are. It's like, for example, after I made my video, by the way, I saw this other guy talking about why a lot of women strive to go for the one rich guy, right, and for the 1% or whatever. And the main reason is because of status, because they want to post that picture online. And the same thing goes for guys. You know, the reason they go out with a lot of women and that they don't stick to one, or they go for what is considered pretty rather than what they want, what they actually want, is because status, because they want to post it online, because they want to say, hey, look, I went out with this girl, I went out with that girl, or whatever, I'm doing good. Oh, that's basically what it is, right? But does it mean that these people are evil or whatever? It doesn't mean anything. It just means that's how the system is at the moment. That's how it is at the moment. And it also doesn't mean that every woman is like that. It just means that most of them are like that, and most of them are looking to hook up with the richest guy, and the richest guy is looking to hook up with as many of them as they can. Not necessarily because they want to have sex with all of them. Not necessarily. Sometimes they don't even have sex, by the way. That's the truth. I'm being honest. Sometimes they don't even have sex. They just want to post pictures with them. Sometimes they even pay them to post up with them and walk around with them or whatever. Some of these guys don't even have energy to be fucking all these women, dude. Some of them don't. Anything. Anyways. So that's all I was trying to say about that. But now let's focus on idol worshiping. Okay, and I have a little drink here because I just had like a chip. I want to taste it in my mouth. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about idol worshiping, and that's the other human condition. This is the other thing that we are obsessed with. And this is the other thing that we can't seem to shake as human. And like I said, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do any of these things. I think some of these things are necessary for us to continue to survive and to continue to keep moving forward as humanity. This is why we got as far as we got. Okay, because of religion, and because we see ourselves in things. Okay, this is something that is it's very ingrained in our psyche. Okay, we want to see ourselves in people that are doing good. You see, people that seem perfect, people that seem infallible. That is the main key, psychological key, I guess you could say, to why people idolize the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, the Tekashi 6ix9ines or whatever. This is why people idolize those people. This is why when you criticize these people, you know, there seems to be some sort of innate reaction to it, and you want to just defend him like, no, he's perfect, you know, and shit like that. Like what I said about Jake Paul. A lot of people got mad about me saying that about Jake Paul and Andrew Tate. When I said Andrew Tate can't fight for shit, people got mad. It is what it is, but it's true. Andrew Tate can't fight for shit. I could beat his ass. I'm serious. I could beat the shit out of him. For real. Easy. It's not even going to be hard. I don't even think he hits hard. You know who I think hits hard is the guy he fought. What's his face? Shane something. I forgot his last name. But Shane can punch. I know he's not very coordinated or whatever. But I could tell that he has pop. Just the way Andrew reacted to him and the way other people have reacted to him in the past that have fought him. Excuse me. I could tell you that he packs a punch. He just doesn't know how to connect well. And the thing, he's a football player, so football players are good at connecting, pushing, having contact with at the right time against the opponents and shit. But anyways, I'm deviating. The two things we have to do, okay, in order to not fall into idol worshiping, because idol worshiping is actually worse than chasing status, in my opinion. It's actually one of those things that we need to look out for way more than chasing status. I mean, chasing status, like I said, when it goes too far, it can be harmful. And that's the same thing with everything. But I think idol worshiping is one of these things that is actually, we need to watch out for this one. Okay, so what we need to do is differentiate between true religion and fake religion. True religion is an exploration of oneself. True religion is an exploration of the world and questioning things, believe it or not. It's true religion. And liberty and freedom. That's what a true religion should inspire in people for in different types of ways. Now, what is a fake religion? A fake religion is something that asks of you to stop your own thinking and stop your own exploration. So it goes against your own exploration, and it puts your faith on this, outside force that is more stronger than you and better than you. Now, there's a couple of examples of true religions. There's a couple of examples of fake religions. And you're going to see that fake religions are usually the ones that say, oh, there's this big entity or big God that controls everything, and you have to follow that person or that entity, and that entity is going to make things better for you, and keep searching for it. Keep searching for that thing, right? It's usually what it is. True religions are usually going to say either that you can't do anything about the forces of nature or the forces outside of you, and that you have to focus on yourself, or like Jesus Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within, right? By the way, the reason I got these pictures here is because these are some of the first depictions of Jesus, or what Jesus looked like. And then later here they made him into a white guy. But by the way, I think these were made by either medieval artists or Roman artists. So who knows? And they were made way after his death and his life. So who knows if this is really what he looked like. But I will say this: if you go back and read how Jews used to dress and used to look like back in the day, it was like this. Okay, they used to have short hair and a beard. That's what every Jew looked like back in the day. But later on, they started making them with long hair and him more white looking. Some of them look blonde, and also the scriptures were changed a couple of times. So that's the other thing you got to understand. That's the main reason Jesus Christ, by the way, talked in parables, was because he knew that people were going to change his words, and they were going to misinterpret his words, and they were going to make it seem like he was something that he's not, because he knows the condition of humans. He knows that humans are always going to try to oppress people, to make rules for other people, and not follow those same rules, or rules for thee, not for me. It's been around since forever. It's something humans do to each other all the time. And he knew that was going to happen. He was against that. So that's part of, like, some atheists, they always say, why does Jesus and even Nostradamus and all of these, mystical guys always talk in parables and always talk in mysterious ways or whatever? And the reason for that is very simple. It's because of what I said, because there was people that were going to try to change his words, and in order for him to hide from those people and from the people that were going to try to kill him or stop him from saying that message, he had to speak in parables, so that the people that could understand would understand, and the people that weren't going to understand, then they just weren't going to do it. And that's why Jesus Christ, the religion of Jesus Christ, the true religion of Jesus Christ, was not for everybody. And he said so himself. He said, many are called, but few are chosen. And he said, many of the people that think they're with me, that they think they're Christians, and they think they're following me, on that day, they're going to say, Lord, in your name, we casted out demons. We did all kinds of craziness, and we conquered, in your name. And he's going to say, stay away from me, evildoers. And if you look at today's day and age, his name is being used. His name is being used in politics a lot. And it's being used in a way to conquer, in a way to take over shit, in a way to, you got to fight that guy because that guy's a Muslim, and you got to do this, that, and the other. These people think that they're Christians, maybe. Or maybe they know that they're using his name in ways that it shouldn't be used, but they're doing it anyways. My point is, this is what he was talking about. He was talking about these people, the people that use his name in order to do these things. These are the evildoers. These are usually going to be the evildoers, the guys that use his name in this type of way. So, idol worshiping, right? Now, Jesus Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within. And he said to pray, right, and to meditate. And that salvation is, individual. Right? That's literally what he said. Now, there's some things that some other things that he said, and other things that were added after. But that's the main thing he was preaching. Right? There was a certain occasion where the Jews were mad at, I forgot who they were mad at, because they weren't Jews or whatever, and they just didn't like non-Jews. And Jesus was like, you guys are my flock, but I have another flock, right? And the Jews were like mad. They were like, what do you mean you have another flock? Because they wanted to be chosen. They wanted to be exclusive. They wanted to be a higher status than everybody else. So, like I said, a human condition. And Jesus started doing miracles. And the thing about it is that in those days, if the only people that could do miracles were the scribes, not the scribes, the Pharisees, or the people that were chosen by God, the priests and stuff like that. And when they couldn't do a miracle, when they couldn't heal you, when they couldn't cast out the demons that were tormenting you, they would say, "Oh, it's because you're a sinner. That's what it is. You're just a sinner, and God doesn't cure sinners. And so confess your sins or whatever you got to do, but then come back and maybe I'll be able to heal you." That was an excuse that they had, right? Other times, they would say only we could heal because we're pure and we are holy, and that's why we can heal. But anybody that isn't pure and holy and isn't from the priesthood, they cannot heal. But Jesus Christ, he was hanging out with prostitutes. He was hanging out with the sinners He was hanging out with the Gentiles. He was touching these people. He was unpure to them, but he was still healing them. He was still healing both Jews and non-Jews, right? And that's what was bothering the Jews, that he was able to heal and prove them wrong. And so what Jesus Christ said, what they started saying about Jesus Christ, was that he was doing it through demons and he was doing it through evil powers. And then those that defended him would say, well, that's not true. He's not doing, how could he cast out demons if he is a demon? All right, so it was a whole situation with Jesus Christ that they wanted to get rid of him. And it wasn't just the Jews, it was the Romans as well. They wanted to get rid of him. And it was because he was dismantling the structure built by the elite, because this is how they keep control of humans, by knowing these weaknesses that humans have. This need to be exclusive is the same parasite that makes us need to chase status, to want status. Is the same one, and it's the same one that makes us chase these idols. And you notice when I attacked Floyd Mayweather, or when I said stuff about Floyd Mayweather, these people got very angry. And the main reason they got angry is because he was black like them. They didn't care that I talked about white people. They didn't care that I talked about Mexicans and Latinos. They didn't care about that. In fact, they doubled down specifically on Mexicans and Latinos. And he didn't really say anything about white people. You notice that, right? You notice that in the comment, he didn't say shit about white people. He went straight for the Mexicans and straight for those guys. You know, it just tells you in their mind what these people stand for. But Elon Musk is another one of these idols. And hopefully, if I attack this guy, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's going to be people mad for sure, but I'm going to do it anyways. The reason people look for idols is because people seek perfection, especially when they're weak. If they're weak, they want to look up to somebody that's strong. If they're poor, they want to look up to somebody that's rich. And even if they're pieces of shit and they know it, they want somebody like them that's a piece of shit to be successful too, right? Or somebody that's nerdy like them. They want to feel like they have something in common with someone better than them. This is the same thing with idol worshiping. We're looking for perfection in these statues, right? And we put them in such a high status that they're infallible and you can't really say anything bad about them, you know. And the elite know this. The elite know that humans have this condition to follow, this condition to idol worship, and they take advantage of that. You know, that's how they make their bucks. That's how they make their money, by manipulating people in that sort of way. And I remember when I talked shit about Andrew Tate in one of my videos, because he got his ass beat by Shane. I forgot his but I'm just gonna call him Shane. He got his ass beat, you know, by a guy who can't really even box for real. He can't. He doesn't have a good jab. He's just all over the place. He got beat, you know. And the worst thing about it is that fight was set up for him to win. They do it all the time in boxing for people that put a lot of butts on seats. Meaning if you're famous enough and if you bring a lot of people to the table, they're going to try to set you up with a fighter that sucks so that you could win the fight and have a belt. Right? They do that all the time. And that's what they did for Andrew Tate. They wanted him to win that fight, and they set him up with a total bomb, and he still lost. But anyways, people didn't like that. People didn't like that I attacked Mr. Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate is an idol that represents masculinity, or their version of masculinity. And this makes people feel good about themselves because sometimes that's what they lack, or that's what they want to be, or they want to be perceived as that. And that's the same thing would happen back in the day. Like when people would worship the god of war, a lot of times they wanted to be great warriors, right? They wanted to be like Achilles. They wanted to be like, all of these great warriors. And so where did they worship? The god of war. It's the same thing that people are doing right now with these celebrities. This is what they perceive themselves as, and this is what they want to be. This is what they crave to be. So what I'm saying, basically, guys, is instead of worshiping, these people. By the way, this is a guy who made a shrine of Donald Trump. There's a lot of this going on around the world, by the way. A lot of people worship Donald Trump, like literally. And so what I'm saying is, what people have to do in order to not fall for these things is look inside yourself and search inside yourself and realize what are the things you're missing that you're putting on this idol, that you're giving to this idol, and say to yourself, I'm going to do these things for myself so that I could be a better person, so that I could be fulfilled myself, instead of following and putting these things on this other person, on this false idol. It's mainly affecting me, right? And then it is even helping anybody else or whatever. This is basically what I'm trying to say, guys. And to differentiate from true religion and fake religion, if some idol, if some person is asking of you to do crazy things for him, and these are the things that you have to follow, and they're rigid rules that you can't go against this, you can't go against that, then you no longer have complete control of yourself. Then this is a fake religion, guys. It's a fake religion. And that's most of the main religions today